And this second half of the test is again, it's about the same timeline as the first half. It's split up pretty evenly. So I just started recording, so let me just welcome everyone who's coming in on the recording. This is the session 6 of the Let's Get Certified Classroom. If you are wanting to join our classroom, you can pause the video and put that code inside of your inside of Google Classroom to join the class, and you'll get caught up on everything that we're doing. So going back over to the test itself will take you, let's see, the level 1 will take you anywhere between, an hour to 2 hours, maybe a little bit more, maybe 2.5 hours. I believe it caps you at like 3 hours. Hopefully it doesn't take you that long. The level 1 test is $10, but we do have codes available to get it done for free. And if you would like to do that, you can reach out to either Allison Herval and she'll give it to you directly. You can also reach out to me and I'll kind of go through Allison to get you set up if you would like to go that way. So are there any questions? I'm seeing most people have been here in the past few weeks. Is there anyone that is not inside of our classroom that needs to have the link one more time or is unable to get in there somehow? I will take the silence as a good thing. I'm going to post these things one more time in case someone came in. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go into our classroom, and I'm going to go into the classwork tab, and it was just posted just a few minutes ago, the Let's Get Certified task list for the Google Sites and Calendar. So I'm going to go ahead and open up this assignment.
There is a good one that I read.
Okay, so again, we're doing 2 different items today, and like I said before, we're going to kind of go through as quickly as we can, just so that you guys can get on your way. But we're going to be talking today about sites, and we're going to be talking today about calendar. And this is not a training built entirely over sites. I'm not going to show you every single piece. I'm just going to kind of go over what you might see in the level 1 test, and then the same thing for calendar. We're just going to go over a couple of those things. All right, so let me go ahead and in another tab, I'm going to open up Google Sites, and if you could do the same thing. The first thing that I have to say is to get there, you're going to go to sites.google.com. You can also use the Google Apps button, the waffle in the top right of your screen to find Google Sites. There's a button for Google Sites as well. And when you get here, you need to make sure that you are on the new Google Sites. There actually is a new and old. It should say at the top, sites.google.com/new. Let me share the right tab here. And but you'll notice at the bottom left, there's a button that says Back to Classic Sites, and if you click on that, you might be here, and sometimes for whatever reason, if you just go to sites.google.com, it will actually put you in the old Google Sites, the classic Google Sites, automatically. So if you see this and it just kind of looks like a really old web browser, you need to find this button here that says New Google Sites and make sure that you are on the new one. So once you are here, I just saw someone pop in, so I'm going to share this link one more time. I'm going to give you, well, let's just hop in again. I don't want to spend too much time talking about this. So I just want to show you the things that you need to see. So inside of the level 1 test, you will have to create a Google site. And so to create a Google site, on the bottom right hand of the page, there is a plus button, and you can use a template if you're making one for your own classroom, but for the actual level 1 test, it's going to have you create a brand new one. So I'm going to click the create new site, and it's going to take just about a few seconds, and we'll get and it'll get started here. So I'm going through my checklist of things I need to do. And so I can mark off the top one that says create a new Google site. I'm going to use that button on the bottom right in order to do that. The very first thing that I need to do is name this Google site. So you would think that because this is big and right in the middle, that I could name the site right there. And that is not correct. This name right here is just kind of, it's part of the website. It's not an actual name of the page. So now I can still do it. So Mr. Morgan's Math Cave. This is a website I actually used to have or have it named. Now I can move this around if I don't like it the way that it needs to be, but my website is still not named to that. And so to name this website, I'm going to go over to the top left of my page, and right now it says Untitled Site, and so I'm going to change that to Mr. Morgan's Math Cave. So now the name of the site is Mr. Morgan's Math Cave. And when I do that, and I know you can't see it on your screen because it's cut off on there, but at the very top of my page where the tab is to tell me what the name of the site is, it got changed along the way as well. Now, I also need to say this is not your URL. This is not like you can't go to Mr. Morgan's Math Cave now.com and show this. This is just the name of the website, not the actual address of the website. So I'm going through the checklist of things I need to do, and I just named the site. So the next thing is I can just change the look of it. And it says, make sure that you can change the background image, the header type, and the theme. You don't have to do all of this on the test, but it still is good to know. And so whenever I hover over my top page right here, I am given this information right here, and this is where most of this is going to come in. So I can change the image by either uploading my own, or I can select a different image. And so I'll just select, see, it's a math class. Is there anything good math related here? If there is, I'm missing it. There's patterns in math, right? So we can do that one. And then I can also change the header type, and I can change it to be bigger. I can change it to be slightly bigger and smaller, or title only. And so it will tell you on the test how it wants it to look. It'll say change the header to a large banner or a small banner or whatever the case is. You just have to follow the directions, whatever they give you. And I think that is randomized. Sometimes it tells you to do a big one, sometimes it tells you to do a small one, and so forth. But that's what you'll need to do. The last thing that I need to do on here is to change the theme. And so the theme is actually not part of this main part. I'm going to go over here to the far right of my screen, and I'm going to take a look at this theme button here. So this theme button will give me all of the options. Now, again, it is the test will tell you what theme to pick. And so if it tells you to pick Vision, you'll just pick Vision. And if it tells you to pick Level, you'll pick whatever you want. You can change the looks of it and so forth. But it'll give you the option of, or it'll be very specific on what you need to have on that on your page. So so that's that part. Are there any questions before we go? I know I've been talking. I wanna get through it, but I also want to make sure that I'm covering everything. Are there any questions before I move on? Are you guys alive out there? I have really good wait time, so. All right, Jury, thank you. All right, so so that's the next part. On the next button, it says to change your site layout. And so a lot of what this is just kind of getting to know Google Sites. And so we're not going to cover every single part of it. Like I said, this isn't supposed to be a full session over a Google site. If you want more information over a Google site, I'd be happy to meet with you. There are things inside of the Cavern Crusade that you can already take a look at as well. So I'm in the themes part, and this is kind of the section where you're going to do a lot of the site layout. And so so these three buttons is what I mean by that. The Pages button is going to allow you to create additional pages, and we're actually going to have to come back to this here in a minute. But whenever I go to my Insert button, this is where most all of the options are. Now, I'm going to come back to that. There also is a way to right click anywhere on your screen. There used to be a way to right click, and maybe it's because I don't have a layout setting right there. So it's not letting me do that right now. So I'm sure it'll pop up here in a second. So heading back over to the right then, if I want to have a title to added, I can come over here and I can put a text box. And whenever I push text box, then it's going to automatically insert it into my page. And I can change it from normal text to a title. Now I already have a title on my big page, but maybe I want this to be, math homework. And I can change the font if I want. I can do a couple of these, things like you would be able to do on any website. Change the size, make it bold, italicize, so forth. I can make this a link so that it's not just words, but it links to a maybe a different website or something like that. And I can also change the alignment. So it's a text-rich editor, a rich text editor, and but there's not a million things here for you. It's really trying to kind of not dumb it down, but really just kind of the bare essentials of what you might need along the way. Now, there is a more button here that you can do a couple other kind of different things, like changing your indentation, doing strike through, changing your line spacing along the way. These are less used, so they kind of put them in these 3 dots. But as far as this goes, this is going to be the bulk of what you can do with text along the way. Now, I could push enter and make a paragraph out of this too, and it'll actually change it for me. Change the editing or the title, change from title into small or normal text or whatever. But if I wanted to separate this so that maybe my title looked a little bit different than my next section, I can come over here and create another section like this and do this as well. That was a bad. There we go. Now, and I can move this around. I can actually put this above. I can put it directly underneath so that they are more connected along the way. And so I can do a few things with that. Let me move it back to where I had it. Now, you won't really need to know this for the test, but you can also change some background stuff right here. You can copy, duplicate the section and kind of set up your page the way you want to, and you can delete to take them away, all from this little section right over here. So in addition to text, you can also insert images. It does what it sounds like. You can insert things from your drive, and this will insert the entire document inside of there. So, for example, if I have a, let's see, here's one that we did in a previous Let's Get Certified. If I put that in there, now that entire document is placed inside of the website. And so they can view it, and if they have edit access, they can click on the open button and they'll be able to edit it. If they have view only access, they'll be able to click on it and open it up for view only. It does exactly what you would think it does. But it's not just a Google Doc that you can use. Anything inside of your drive can be uploaded into your Google site. So if you have a sheet or a slide deck or a Microsoft Office file, you can insert those as well. They might look a little bit different along the way, but you can do that. And the reason they put these up top, because these are going to be the ones that are used the most. Now there is an embed. You will not have to do anything embed using the embed feature inside of the test. And kind of similarly for a lot of this stuff down here, the one thing that you may have to do along the way is a YouTube video. But it's exactly what it sounds like. If I click on YouTube, I can do a search. So I can do a search for Mickey Mouse or whatever I need to put in here, or anything that I've uploaded myself. So here's a wee video tutorial that I've done. I can click on that and insert it into my page, move it around, make it bigger, smaller, whatever I would like to do. Now, these buttons along the right hand side are pretty, like I kind of said before, they're mostly everything that you can do inside of a Google site. So it's not like a normal site where you're going to have a million options and you can let your creativity take you where you need to go. It really is, limited to what's on here. As far as the level 1 test goes and adding to it, you're going to have to add exactly what they tell you to add. So if they tell you to put a title in there, you'll put a title. If they tell you, add this underneath the title, it'll give you all the directions. And the good news for you is all of the options are right here. You just need to find whatever it is that they tell you to put in there. So if they tell you to put a calendar, I can come over here to calendar, click the calendar button, and insert, and I have a ton of calendars because I'm over the website as well, and so I can click on any of these. So here's the website for craft. Hopefully there's nothing on the calendar. Yeah, I would hope not at this point. And so I can insert a calendar inside of there. But again, the test will tell you what you need to insert, and all of your options are going to be right here. Okay, so the next thing that we need to cover, and I've kind of covered a few of these as we've gone through, is to create pages within a site. And again, on the right-hand side here, it kind of makes sense. I'm going to click on the Pages button. Now, right now, I'm on the home page. And if I want to create an additional page, for example, for maybe a parent calendar, then I'm going to come over to this page and I'm going to click the new page button. Now, you'll notice that there's two options here. One of them is the new page and one of them is the new link. Now, if I do a new link, all I'm able to do is really to link to a page somewhere else on the internet. It's an external link that'll take them where they need to go. And you might want that inside of your personal school account. Maybe you want to link to Parent View or to Student View. But again, as for the test, you really won't be using that button. And so instead, you're going to be creating the new page, and you're going to have to name it whatever they tell you to name it again. And so maybe they want you to name it Parent Calendar. So I'm going to do Parent Calendar, and I'm going to click the Done button, and it creates a brand new page. Again, for the test, you're not going to really have to do much beyond creating a new page and maybe adding something on that page. They'll tell you but they'll tell you exactly what to do, and so you'll have to add that text right inside of your page. If you named it wrong along the way, you can change this. So if you messed this part up, you notice whenever I hover over each one of these pages, there's 3 dots that appear to the right-hand side of the page. And so I can click on those 3 dots, and I can click on the Properties button. And that allows me to change the name of that. So maybe I wasn't supposed to put in a space. And as soon as I change that, of course, it changes it on the web page, and it changes it inside of my menu right here as well. If I misunderstood and I need to delete it, then I can come over here and delete this page entirely, and it goes away. And so we kind of see some of the options that are available. Let me bring that back. A couple of the other options, again, will not really be on the test itself. You won't really, you won't need to hide it from the navigation. So you see up here, you got your home and you got your parent contact. If I click hide from navigation, it's going to go away. And so, and you can kind of see it's still a page that I can link other people to, but it's not one they can kind of stumble upon. So if you want to make a hidden page, then you can do that from right there. So let me click show in navigation, and you can see that it brings it back. I can also add subpages to this. So maybe I need, first period and second period and so forth. You can kind of see that it does it like this, and it makes it, like a website does. It's going to add a drop down so that they can select them. I don't believe this is on the test, but it's there for you in case you need to see it. Okay, so any questions about that? That one is I know it's for sure one of the things you'll have to do on the test. There's not too much to it, but if you don't know how to do it, you might be a little bit lost on there. Okay, it says add text, images, embed resources to your site. We kind of went over that already. Insert, embed docs, slides. We already kind of went over that. Control access, we'll go over that right now, actually. Okay, so whenever you're done with your website, I don't believe the test really has you publish it in any way. But if you need to, if it does say to do that, of course, there is a huge publish button right over here. And we'll kind of go over the options on this. Whenever you do that, you're going to have to name it whatever you want to name it. Again, it's not a URL it's not mrmorgansmathcave.com. The URL is actually right below. So it's sites.google.com/carlsbadschools.net/ now for the test. Again, I don't believe they have you doing any of that. And then who can view my site? This is always kind of the best place to put it. If you are doing something with your kids, if you want it to remain just you and your students, but you can change this instead of just to you. The publish the site, we can publish this for the public. And so whenever I click done there, now anyone can view my site. You can change it to where that it's not just stumbled upon. Someone actually has to have the link. Now I'm going to click cancel. I don't want to do that. It's not going to hurt anything if I do, but I'm just going to go ahead and cancel that. That's how you would publish that site, and then kind of change some permissions as well. And then the last little bit of settings over here, not much that you're going to have to worry about. Of course, there is version histories. Again, this isn't really a training for that. There is some settings, and none of these, I should put it like this. The test itself really hasn't been changed over the last couple of years. None of this was there 2 years ago, so none of this is on the test. This is good stuff if you are making a website. For example, if your navigation, would you like it to be on the top or would you like it to be on the side? And then the announcement banner was great for this time, because you might be running a restaurant or something like that, and you might need to tell the people who are looking you up online that you are closed due to COVID. So you can put this banner up to the top and add stuff, very important information at the top by doing that. But again, it's nothing that's going to be on the test. And then the final little bit is sharing with others. Again, what you may have to do on the test is to share this website with someone. It'll tell you, when you're done making these changes, share this with your colleague, Mrs. Morgan. I don't know. And so you'll have to search for them. They'll be in your contacts. You just kind of put your name there and pick who you want to send it to, and go from there. Are there any questions over Google Sites before we head over to Google Calendar? Now's the time to ask, because I will never come back here, Ashley, I see you came in. Let me put the link to sign in. Okay. All right, let's head over to Google Calendar. And you can get there by going to calendar.google.com, or on the top right, let me turn off my family calendar here so you don't have to see all the stuff that we do. There we go. So through the calendar, it's going to be one of the things that you do for sure on the level 1 test. And there's only a couple of real things that you have to do, and some of it is just kind of understanding the way that the calendar works. One of the things I know that you're going to have to do is to create your own calendar. Okay. And so this can for sure be a little bit confusing, because you would think up on the top left that I can create a calendar. But calendar is not one of the options here. So if I click on calendar, it's going to add just a regular event. So it'll add an event. I can actually change this to out of office or a task or appointment slots, and but there's no option for a calendar. I didn't mean to do that. Let's close that up. So there's no options to create a calendar right there. the place that you're going to create a calendar, you can see, of course, you can create more calendars. I've got like way too many calendars to even think about right here. The way that you're going to do that is you're going to scroll down if you need to, and there is a plus button next to the other calendars. So, and here you can see the add other calendars. So I'm going to click the plus button here, and this is really meant if you, there's different calendars that you can subscribe to. For example, if you follow the NBA and you love the Lakers, just as an example, there's a Lakers calendar that you can subscribe to, and you can do that from right here. So if you're going to subscribe to one, that's how you would do it. But for the test, you're going to have to create the new calendar, which is the next button. Now, there's a few more that you can like browse what's already there and so forth. But again, for the test, we're just going to click create new calendar, and it'll tell you what to name the calendar. But I think it's something like, parent calendar, give or take, but it'll tell you what to name it. I'm going to go ahead and click create calendar. I'm going to have to delete this later because I've already got too many calendars. And once it's been created, I can come in and configure it, but I don't believe you needed to configure anything on the actual test. You just had to create it. So now I'm put back in my other calendar, and I'm gonna have to find this calendar in all of the ones that I have. And let's see, it was the parent calendar. So I believe these are in, yeah, there we go, parent calendar. So I'm gonna turn off all the other calendars and just show this one. Let me go back to the list of things we needed to do here. So it says create a calendar separate from your personal calendar. That's how you're going to have to do that. That's how you're going to do it on the test. Now, if you want to delete this calendar, of course, you can just push the X button and it'll go away. But I'll do that here in a minute. Manage multiple calendars. I kind of did that along the way. If I want to turn on these other calendars, I can click these buttons right here and they will, show up. That's what it's talking about here. I can also change the colors of these to manage them a little bit better. So if I click on the three dots here, I'm given all these options. So maybe I don't have a brown calendar, just so I can see it a little bit better, so that everything in my calendar changes color depending on whatever color I assign here. But that's the the bulk of what you can do right there. Create an event in a calendar. Now, I did this already. I already kind of showed you that this is the way to create an event. So I can click on the create button right here, but I don't have to. I can also click on any date. And so if I want to create an event on the 17th, just as an example, I can click on the 17th and it'll get started on an event for me. And then I'm just going to put in the information. For the test, you're gonna be, again, you're kind of put in charge of a you're saying you're a teacher at this school and you need to make an appointment with so and so's parent, one of your students' parents, and so it'll say make an event on your calendar for sometime in the next couple of weeks, and name it parent contact and invite that person. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to have to do whenever you click event, and most of you in here are probably familiar with what Google Calendar is, but we'll say parent meeting. And I want to point this out, and I'm sure it's on here on our task list of what we need to do, but at some point it's also going to ask for a reminder that you have to set a reminder, and that's going to be right here inside of the task. And so if you want your event to be changed to a task, then you just click over to a task instead. I know on the level 2 test, you have to set up appointment slots, but it's not something that you have to do on the level 1 test. So if I want that parent meeting to be an event, I'm just going to make sure that it is an event. And I believe it says like make it an hour long. So we'll do, from 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock. Maybe I don't get out of class until 3:30, so I can change that to 3:30, 3:30 to 4:30. That looks good. Now, all of pretty much everything that I need to do on the test I will be able to do it through this main pop-up that I have in front of me. But if I want a little bit more screen real estate, if I'm working on a small screen, one of the Chromebooks or something, I might want this to be a lot bigger. So I can also click on the more options button, and so it'll take up my entire screen. And so this might look a little bit better for you as well. I believe if the test wants you to, it'll tell you whether or not you need to add a meeting, a Google Meet. And so I can click this button right here. When I did the test a couple years ago, it had me find a time to meet with somebody, and in which case I'm going to use this button. It did not have me do that on this last test, so I'm not really sure if that's going to be something you have to do, but if it does, then there's the button for it. But I'm going to have to, it also definitely does ask you to set a notification or a reminder. And you can do notifications and reminders in quite a few different ways here. So if I click add notification, I can add a notification either through an email or through a pop-up that shows up either on the computer or on the phone. So I know that it says to do one of each. So maybe an email that is 60 minutes before, and a notification that's 10 minutes before. Again, it'll tell you. You don't have to guess on what to do. And then the last little bit that, at least that I remember for the test, you're also going to have to invite that person. So if I need to invite Ashley, I can invite Ashley to this. It'll tell you again. It'll tell you the person that you have to invite along the way. So let me look over at the task list and see what we needed to do. Create a calendar that is separate from your personal calendar. We got that. Manage multiple calendars. We talked about that. Creating an event in a calendar. We talked about that. Sharing a calendar. You won't really have to do on the test, but I will show you how to do that. Share a calendar. So we need to come back for that. Set customized reminders and notifications for events. We talked about that. Use the calendar to check availability and schedule meetings. That's where that find a time comes in. So I can, whenever I do this, because I've invited Ashley, I'm going to see a little bit of her information on here, and I'll be able to work around that schedule. And that's kind of what it's talking about there. I can use the calendar to send invites, and that's what, as soon as I click save, it's going to send an invite to Ashley. I'm going to take her off so we don't forget that. Let's see, keep track of who will be attending your meet. Again, that's going to show up here. It's going to be right here. It's going to list every single person that has been invited, whether they accepted, whether they declined, or whether they haven't yet responded. And then add resources to a meeting. The last little bit, and I will say this too, whenever I took the test a few years ago, this was not working. It was working like for me, like at school, but on the test, it did not work. And so whenever I took the test most recently, just to recertify myself, they had taken this question off. So, but having said that, if you do need to add resources, there is an add attachment button right here at the bottom, and you can go through your drive and insert stuff. So I can actually insert, let's see, my website that I just created, and it will attach it to this calendar invite. That way it'll pull up. Now, in real world, you're not going to attach an email. Probably you're going to attach maybe a Google Doc and put, this Google Doc is for our meeting. And whenever I click save, then it'll send an invite to all of the guests along the way. Okay, so I think we've covered everything except for sharing a calendar. I'm not sure if you really need to do that, but we're going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to cancel this event, and I'm going to come over here. I'm going to hover over my calendar, and instead of unsubscribing, I'm going to click the options right here, and I'm going to click on settings and sharing. And whenever I click on settings and sharing, it's going to go to where we were before. This is actually where we had kind of started. And I can share this by adding people right here. At one point, again, with the test, it had you doing a lot with Google Groups and like creating a group for your classroom. That was completely gone from the test for both level 1 and level 2, the most recent time that I took that. So I don't think you're going to have to do anything with Google Groups. But you can add not just people, but you can add entire group. So I can add all CMS to that. I'm not even going to like go close to emailing that out to the whole district. But if you wanted to create a group, or if you had a group that you could create with, or that you already had created, then you could add that in there along the way. All right, so I'm going to click cancel on that one. Again, calendar is one of those things that you've probably used, and there's not too many things on the test that are just completely like out of left field. Like I never would have thought to be able to do that, at least on the level 1 test. So a lot of it's just, do you really know the basics of using Google Calendar? Do you know how to create an event? Do you know how to add somebody? Do you know how to read your calendar and so forth? So that's kind of what it comes down to there. So I'm done with my task sheet, and I know you don't want to hear me talk for the next 20 minutes just for the sake of talking. So are there any questions before I let you guys head out of here? And I'll do my wait time on this one to wait for you guys to say yes or no. All right, Katie's good. Katie, you're good. All right. There we go. We're getting a few now. So again, this was the last real kind of session that's going to like really focus in on a couple different programs. Next week, we are going to look at preparing for the test and the little things that you kind of need to know along the way. One that definitely, the things that definitely didn't require an entire, session to cover. And so we're going to cover all those things next week. So my hope is that we get you guys ready and you spend all spring break studying for the test, right? Because you need to do that. And then, no, I'm just kidding. Hopefully we'll get you guys prepared and sometime between now and the end of the school year, you take your level 1 test and you're certified and everyone thinks you're like really cool after that. I guess that's, we give you a good pat on the back. You can add a picture to your email, which is great. But other than that, guys, I don't want to waste too much of your time. I thank you guys for coming. Ashley, the voucher will come from Allison Herval, and just tell her that you would like to take the level 1 test. She might send you a link for the level 1 and the level 2, but just tell her what you want and she'll send it back to you. So again, thank you, everyone. I'm going to hang out for a couple minutes. I'm going to put the sign-in sheet one more time in case you missed it. But I hope you guys have a wonderful afternoon and a great rest of your week. Thank you.